The Rode VideoMic Pro is a fantastic addition to any on-the-go creator kit. Affiliate link in the video description. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the MundaneChats channel, and oh man, I love it when Alex Jones gets raked over the coals through the media, because Alex Jones is currently experiencing a situation very similar to our president, which is some of the words you say will come back to bite you in the ass later on. He has the truth to say them, but when he lies, as often as he lies and then gets caught lying or gets in legal trouble for lying, he has to kind of pull back on that shit a little bit. And this is the third time essentially in 3 months that this has happened, and it's just fucking hysterical to me. I don't mind Alex Jones. I like him for entertainment purposes only. He's the only person on InfoWars I find even remotely entertaining. Before that fact, though, I do enjoy to see what Alex will come up with next, because it's seriously hysterical to watch him believe it, even though he claims he's a performance artist, and also to watch his audience gleefully lap it up like a money shot from the end of a porno. And what's hysterical now is he's kind of been called back into the spotlight for Sandy H0ok, for comments he made about Sandy H0ok and everything else. So this happened with Megyn Kelly and her new show, and it's kind of have a blowback on her, which I don't feel is right, because it's not like she is agreeing with what he says or advocating for what he says, but she's trying to shine a spotlight on newsmakers, as she claims that's what her program is set to do. And Jones, like I said before, is trying to defend himself, but in the fallout from that, the Sandy H0ok Promises Foundation has issued a statement basically distancing itself, axing out, not even distancing itself, straight up axing Megyn Kelly from its foundation. So it's, they just don't want her at all. Now, saying here, Sandy H0ok Promise, a leading gun violence prevention organization, and NBC host Megyn Kelly have agreed that Kelly will no longer host the organization's annual Promise Champions Gala on Wednesday, June 14th in Washington, D.C. This decision was spurred by NBC's planned broadcast of Kelly's interview with conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, who believes the tragedy of Sandy Hook Elementary in Newtown, Connecticut was a hoax. Going on to say, Sandy H0ok Promise cannot support the decision by Megyn or NBC to give any form or voice or platform to Alex Jones, and have asked Megyn Kelly to step down as our Promise Champion Gala host. This coming from Nicole Hockley, the co-founder and managing director. Finishing here with, it's our hope that Megyn and NBC reconsider and not broadcast this interview. And as I said in a previous video, that is the dumbest move they could possibly do, would be to not broadcast the interview. I understand that Sandy H0ok Promises is upset that she interviewed Alex Jones, but again, this is one of those situations where it's guilt by association, even if she's not advocating for or condoning what he says. Her job as a reporter, as a journalist, as an interviewer, is to sit down and ask questions, and then let the subject speak, and in some cases give the subject enough rope to hang themselves with, as evidenced by any single time our president gives a freaking interview with anybody. And then she then reports on what that whole thing is. That's how it works out. That's the basis of pretty much every interview out there. And by attacking Megyn Kelly and NBC for interviewing Alex Jones is just hysterical to me, because it just goes to show you that you can't even like talk to some people in some circles. Yes, Alex Jones said some shit about Sandy H0ok a long time ago when it happened. And then over the years, he's kind of lightened up saying, well, no, it was totally fake. And then it was, well, maybe it was kind of fake, but there's still questions I have with the official statement. And then just a few months ago saying, totally happened the way that they said it. And that's just the truth of it, folks. Like, that's what Jones does. Jones will pitch you a lie, like Pizzagate or Chobani or his marriage. He'll pitch you a lie, and then he'll continue to propagate that lie until it gets to the point of legal amounts of defamation. And then, as in the case of Pizzagate with James Alefantis and Chobani Yogurt, he will then have to retract that statement and issue an apology in the wake of that, because he's a performance artist. That's what he does. And that's what Megyn Kelly should be running on. That's the theme she should be running on. But the reaction from Sandy H0ok Promise, I think, is absolutely insane. But that being said, they have reason to somewhat want to boycott this, so I will give them the benefit of the doubt for the reason. Now, a couple years ago, there was a Sandy Hook, a kind of a memorial event where one of the mothers of a 6-year-old girl who was killed in the event was there, and a Sandy Hook truther ran up and demanded proof that the child was alive, and claimed that the mom had faked the whole thing. And this was a lot running off of the kind of stuff that, you know, Alex Jones had said. And so the man was arrested, and I'm sure they have a lot of anger and animosity towards Alex Jones. But I do have to kind of defend Jones in this case, simply because as a person who espouses my opinion online, and many other people in my community who espouse our opinion that may go against the current narrative being pushed forward by ideological groups, so on and so forth, we are not responsible for what people do with just talking about something. Now, if we were out there calling for an act of violence or calling for something like that, then yes, we would be then guilty by, you know, just, I guess, reverse osmosis or proximity for having caused something like this. But in the end, we're people out there giving an opinion. And so the actions of somebody else based on that opinion is still to the personal responsibility of the offending party, not the person who they listen to who put that thought into their fucking head. That's all I really want to say about that. But Megyn Kelly herself has actually responded to this by saying, I understand and respect the decision of the event organizers, but I'm of course disappointed that I won't be there to support them on Wednesday night. I find Alex Jones' suggestion that Sandy Hook's was a hoax as personally revolting as every other rational person does. It left me and many other Americans asking the very questions that prompted this interview. How does Jones, who traffics in these outrageous conspiracy theories, have the respect of the President of the United States and a growing audience of millions? President Trump, by praising and citing him, appearing on his show, and giving him White House press credentials, has helped to elevate Jones to the alarm of many. Our goal in sitting down with him was to shine a light, as journalists are supposed to do, on this influential figure, and yes, to discuss the considerable falsehoods he has promoted with near impunity. And that's what she was saying there, and that's what she was doing. So the Sandy Hook Promise organization is just taking this and running with it as a way. I don't know if they're trying to drum up more support. I don't know if they're trying to attack Megyn Kelly so that that other people out there might be like, oh, this is a fundraising gala, we need to give you money because clearly you've been shamed. And we live in a weird world right now that has a lot to do with like victim culture and the victim narrative. And at no point am I trying to say that they're you know, not purposeful victims. They absolutely are. That was some horrible shit that happened in Newtown, you know, 4.5 years ago. But at the same time, I'm looking at this like, why would you act this way? That is, unless, you know, well, not even really unless anything here. We live in a world, like I said before, where guilt by association can destroy a career. Guilt by association is something used by many to shame you into never once talking to the other side, never once discussing things with the other side, never once trying to understand the underside without even condoning what they've said or what they've done, but just trying to have a fundamental understanding of the way that they think and why they think that way, for maybe better forms of communication down the road, maybe better understanding, maybe better way to, you know, to dissuade these myths of what they spew. Who knows? But by trying to remove Megyn Kelly from this, all they've done is allowed Alex Jones to then basically once again play the victim card, of which he is doing excellently, I might add, and get out there and be like, I didn't do anything. I've said all this, the media takes me out of context. No, Alex, the media doesn't take you out of context. If the media took you out of context, you wouldn't have had to apologize for two broadcasts, and not even two broadcasts, more than two broadcasts, because you were running on Pizzagate from November multiple times. You did the Chobani thing multiple times. You spew bullshit, and you got caught in a legal trap, and you had to apologize. So there is a very, very, very good paper trail of the shit you have pulled and gotten caught doing. So Megyn Kelly shining a light on the kind of crap you put out there to a much larger audience should go further to discredit you as a whole, and go from there. But you have your base, very much like Trump has his, and you're not gonna, you know, those people are gonna be with you till the end of fucking time, and they're probably gonna dislike this video to the end of time. And I don't give a shit, and that's just how it is. Again, he's like. Howard Stern, okay, Alex Jones, to kind of wrap this thing up, Alex Jones is very similar to Howard Stern in the 1980s, all right, which is where you have Howard Stern watchers that pay attention for an hour and a half a day, most commonly give an answer as to why, is to see what he has to say next, and you have Howard Stern haters that watch for 2.5 hours a day, most commonly given answer as to why is to see what he's going to say next. And ultimately, that is what Alex Jones has done to ride himself to prominence. And yeah, they do have White House press credentials now, and that is probably one of the scariest fucking things. Not only that, you got other people there that are just holy crap. So, yeah. Anyway, I think the Sandy H0ok promises is dumb in doing this. I think it's an ill-advised move. It's only going to further cast a spotlight on Jones and allow him to play the victim. But yeah, that's on you. You could have just let the interview run, let Megyn show up, do her thing, and instead you tried to play the victim narrative, and it blew up in your face. And now the guy you hate has more ammo to use to embolden his audience and further solidify his infamy. So, congrats. You got the opposite of what you wanted. Anyway, my name, of course, is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel. Very curious to read the comments on this one. They should be fun. Let me just throw this in for good measure. Fuck Paul Joseph Watson, too. Total cuck. I'll talk to you guys later. Have yourself a great day. Peace out.